Let's dive into Neo's training so we can stay consistent at home. Whenever he's doing behaviors that we don't want to see, whether that's jumping up on us or he's not following our commands, we're going to follow through with this training equipment so we can decrease those unwanted behaviors. And then whenever he's doing things that we want to keep seeing, we want to reinforce and reward those behaviors with either praise, petting, or treats, whether that's following our commands or he's being nice and calm and we want to reward him for that. So let's go over Neo's training equipment. So whenever he is out on a leash, he's going to wear his prong collar. The way we take this on and off is we're going to secure one of the links and push through like so. To put it back together, we're going to pinch this prong and put it through the holes of the other prong. Then whenever he has the leash on, it'll attach to this D-ring that swivels. And then how we use this, say he's in the heel command and he's starting to pull ahead or does something that we don't want to see in the heel, what we're going to do is say no to mark the incorrect behavior, follow through with a pop of the leash, and then remind him heel. So no, pop, heel. And then of course, when he gets back to where we want him, verbal praise, petting, and treats to reinforce where we want him when we're healing with him. Now with the remote collar, how we turn this on and off is there's going to be a red dot on the remote and collar. We're going to touch these together. That green light flashing means it's on charge and ready to go. On and off button on the back of the remote. We're going to push and hold until the screen lights up. Then we're going to see level 30 appear on the screen. This is Neo's working level that he's been responding to. And then we're going to focus on the black S button today. S just stands for stimulation, so it's just like an electric muscle stimulator. How we use this, say he's in the heel again and starts to pull ahead or does something we don't want to see, we're going to say no again to mark that incorrect behavior. Follow through with the black S button, heel, no, button, heel. And then of course, when he gets back, verbal praise, petting, and treats to reinforce where we want him to be. Now, depending on the level of distraction that we are in with Neo, we may use one of these, we may use both of these, just depends on the situation we are in. With the remote collar, it's going to be the first thing that we put on a Neo in the beginning of the day. And then it's going to be the last thing that we take off at night. So we always have a form of communication with Neo throughout the day. If he's in his crate throughout the day, you're absolutely more than welcome to take it off. But as soon as he comes out of that crate, we put it back on. Now with the prong collar, he's going to wear this whenever he's on a leash. So in the beginning, he may have the leash and prong on in the house. That's no big deal. So we can introduce the new boundaries and rules inside the house. And then once he has a good understanding of them and he doesn't need the leash anymore, we can use it for mainly just going out on walks. But now that we've gone over his training equipment, let's go over his commands. We've already slightly gone over the heel. So whenever we take him out on walks, I suggest about 80 to 90% of the walk is in that heel command. And then the other 10 to 20%, we give him his release word free. Let him go sniff and do his misses. That's where it's his time to do his own thing, where we follow him rather than him following us. Now we have sit. Sit means stay is implied. So this is really good for those door manners. So we can't just bolt through doors. So when practicing, we're going inside or outside, we're going to have Neo sit. Sit means stay, so if we open the door and he gets up, we're going to follow through the training equipment, get him back into the sit, and then try it again until he gets it right so we can set those same boundaries that we have here at the facility at home. And then if he sits and stays, great. We have two options. We can either free him through the door and let him go by himself, or we can heel through the door with him. It's completely up to you in the situation. Now we have down. Down also means stay as implied. With all of his stay commands, whether it's sit down or place, we're never going to walk 10 to 20 feet away from him and then call him to us, because then he's going to get rewarded for coming to us and not staying in his stay command. So when we're practicing the down, we can do a distraction, walk away from him, or we're always going to go back to Neo where he is and release him from where he's at. So he's getting rewarded for staying in that down stay where he is. And then when rewarding this one, we're going to reward as low to the ground as possible so he doesn't try to get up for treats whenever he's in the down. But say you're practicing this one and he gets up and he follows you somewhere. All we're going to do is say no, follow through with the training equipment, guide him back to wherever he was, put him in the down, and practice the distraction again so he understands even though that big thing's happening, I still have to stay in my down where I'm at. Now we have place. Place is a boundary stay, ideally on an elevated bed. This is really good for whenever you have guests coming over or when you're eating dinner, so he isn't doing unwanted behaviors and jumping up on people or begging at the table. So whenever we're doing this, we can put Neo on place. Place just means all 4 feet have to stay on the bed. He can sit, he can lay down, as long as he's not being crazy or too rambunctious on his place bed. So just like with this one, we're not going to call him from a distance. So say people come over and he's nice and calm, we can go back to Neo and release him from where he's at. And we're going to reward on the place bed so he knows where that positive zone is. When you first introduce this one, especially with bigger distractions and when you first get home, I would introduce it on the leash. So if he does get up, we have a way to guide him back to the bed. So we have that leash communication with him so we can guide him back and then try it again until he gets it right. Now we have come when called. When practicing this one, I suggest a 30 to 50 foot leash so we can have room of him walking away from us, but we still have that communication tool of having a leash on him, but being able to have distance between us so we can practice him being further away from us. Then whenever we practice this one, we give him his release word free, let him go do his own thing, because ideally we need him to go be distracted, because that's when we need him to come back to us. Once he's nice and distracted, we can say come, nice, loud, and firm. As he's coming to us, we're going to praise him, and then whenever he gets into our space, we're going to have him sit, and then we give him his reward. Say whenever you're calling him, he decides to ignore us, or he gets extra distracted, we're going to say no, follow through with the training equipment, whether it's a pop of the leash or a follow through with the black S button. Depends on the situation. And then we call him again, and then we're going to go right back into praising, and he still gets a treat whenever he gets into our space, because just because he made a mistake out there doesn't mean we're not going to be the positive zone. We're always going to reinforce and reward this behavior of coming into our space. Now we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. When you start practicing this one, I would suggest having a leash on and starting out with dog safe food. So if you toss something on the ground and he gets it, not too big of a deal. So how we practice this one, we're going to toss something on the ground, say leave it. If he does, great. If not, we're going to follow through the training equipment and then try it again until he gets it right. And then say you have two options. Just like in the video, I say free and I let him eat it off the ground. Or you can never let him have that option, so he never thinks that something's on the ground is his to eat. But that's completely up to you. You can mainly reward it out of your hand, or you can let him get it off the ground. That's completely up to your standards for Neo. But that is all of Neo's training equipment and his commands. So reinforcing and rewarding everything that we want to keep seeing, whether that's calm behaviors or he's following the commands. And then those behaviors that we don't want to see, whether that's jumping up on us or he's just not following the commands, we're going to follow through the training equipment so we can decrease those unwanted behaviors. But we're going to have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to watch Neo do his commands.
Heel.
Down. That's a good boy. Down. 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 Excuse me. You're fine. Good. Down. Good boy. Down. Free. That's a good boy. Let's dive into the other features of the remote. We've already gone over how to turn it on. Now let's go over how to turn it off. Same concept. We're going to touch these red dots together. That red light means the collar itself is off. On and off button on the back of the remote. Push and hold until the screen goes blank. They turn on and off separately, so that way when Neo is wearing his collar, he can't accidentally turn it on and off. Now, the other buttons on the remote, we've already gone over that black S button. That is going to be whatever number you see on the screen. Level 30 has been working for Neo right now, but say whenever you start working with him, Neo doesn't respond to level 30 or level 30 becomes too much. What we're going to do is we're going to hold down on the dial on top until we see that 1D at the top of the screen start flashing. And then we can rotate this to whatever number we think is going to work with Neo. Right now, level 30 has been working great, so what I'm going to do is change it back to 30 and hold down on the dial again until everything stops flashing. So this way when we put it in our pocket, we're not accidentally changing the level to something and then we're confused or don't understand why Neo is not responding. But underneath that black S button, we have a red S button. This is a boost feature. So right now his level is on 30. If I push this red S button, it's going to jump it to level 55. This is a boost feature to use whenever he's doing something dangerous or he's not responding to that black S button. So say he's running after a car. Level 30 only reaches right here, but whenever he's doing something fun and chasing a car or something like that, he needs a little more to communicate with him whenever he's in that high adrenaline state of mind. So that red S button gives us that thing to do really quickly so we can still communicate with him when big things are happening. So red S button is for emergency cases. On the other side, we have a T button. This is the vibrate feature. I like to use this to make sure the collar and the remote are on and ready to go. But whenever he gets a little bit further into his training and say he doesn't really need this stem, you can absolutely switch over to giving a little vibrate as a warning when he gets further into his training. Now on the back of the remote, we have an M/C button. This stands for momentary or continuous. In the beginning of Neo's training, we started out at a very low level on continuous to introduce the remote in a positive way. Then whenever he gets further into the training, we switched over to a continuous or to momentary at a higher level. So now he should stay on momentary the rest of his training. On the back of the button, the on and off button also works as a on and off button for the flashlight. So rather than pushing and holding it to turn off the remote, we're going to press it. This turns on a flashing flashlight. The second time is a solid flashlight, and the third time turns it off. This is a really good feature to use if you take him out at night so you can still see where he's at and what he's looking at. Now underneath the on and off button, we have the charging port. They both are rechargeable and they stay charged for about 2 days if he wears it for 12 to 14-hour days. So charging it every other day or every 12 or every third day, he should be good. But the collar itself will start blinking a different color once it starts to lose its charge. It'll go to orange and then it'll go to red to let you know it's time to charge it. It does come with a dual charger, so you can charge them both at the same time so you know they're both charged and ready to go. And then with Neo, he doesn't have too long of fur, but it does come with a longer prong. So if you notice that these prongs aren't making good contact, so he gets a little fluffier, you can absolutely switch him over to the longer prongs so they're making good connection with his skin. At the bottom of the box, there is a manual if you want to look over it. Just because there are other features or you just want to know everything that goes on with the remote, you are more than welcome to. Just like with the vibrate feature, it does turn into a tone feature if that's something that you want to do and change it over to, you are more than welcome to. They both are waterproof, so if it gets wet, not too big of a deal. Let's just make sure that if he's going to stay wet for an extended period of time, we're rotating his collar so it's not irritating and rubbing one part of his neck too much. And then right here is the company, so if you have any issues with the remote within the next 2 years, it does come with a 2-year warranty. You can absolutely get in contact with them and they can send you over something new or get something figured out to fix the issue. But just like in the beginning, that's everything. We're going to have fun, stay consistent, and that's everything.